Well, it is time, ladies and gentlemen, to update your Liberal leadership candidate scorecard. Let's begin with who you can take off the list. That's Melanie Joly, who officially this morning announced she will not be seeking leadership of the federal Liberal Party, says she wants to keep her job in foreign affairs, more important now than ever. Now you can add the first Liberal caucus member, though, who will in fact run. His name is Chandra Arya. He is an Ottawa area MP, first elected in 2015, and he is on the line. Mr. Arya, thank you for being here. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
Let me begin. I spoke to Frank Bayliss, who was also interested in running. We spoke to him just the other day. And when I talked about things like the carbon tax, he said it was up for debate. We have to talk about a couple of things. It seems to me from what I'm reading, you're making no bones about what it is you want to do. And one of those things is end the consumer carbon tax. So explain why you want to do that and why that's different from what the party has said they want to do.
See, when the concept of carbon tax was first developed, it was decades back when we did not have the technical solution. Carbon pollution is a technical problem and it can be only solved by technical solutions. So when we got into power 10 years back, we did not have the technological solution. Even then, electric car was hardly proven to be viable. It was not fully confident. We were not fully confident that electrical vehicles was a profitable business. Then the electricity generated by solar and wind power was very expensive. So even then, that was the only solution that was suggested by economists, that artificially increase the cost of the products that cause pollution, then we can control. But now the situation is different. We have technical solution available. We have got the scientists and engineers working with proven technologies. I think it is now to remove that artificial increase in cost of goods that affects middle class people and focus more on engineering and technological solutions.
So that's just the consumer end of it. What about the other end of the carbon tax? How do you prepare to deal with that?
The industrial pricing will continue. The fundamental thing is that trying to change the behavior of consumers, which was the objective of carbon pricing for consumers, that has to go.
Okay, let me move beyond that because I want to talk about a couple of other things you're talking about. Number one, you say you're promising to lead a more efficient government. This is a government that is now running a $62 billion deficit. How do you propose to change that and become more efficient? What has to go?
So there are a couple of things you have to understand. Number one of the things about efficiency is small. My government is going to be smaller with fewer cabinet ministers. But more importantly, on the deficit side, we have to be very clear. Deficit on its own is not the issue. Where the deficit is going is the issue. It's like personal. If I got debt, if it's my credit card debt due to what I spend on my restaurant bills, it is bad. But if it's my mortgage debt, which has gone to acquire a fixed asset, which has got a longer lifetime and gives returns, that is good. Again, focusing on things like deficit on their own is misleading. What is that we want to do? How do we do that? Obviously, the spending has to come down. That is a given, which I have stated very clearly, that every single government program, government entity, crown agencies will be evaluated to check whether they are still relevant today. If not, they are gone.
All right, so we talked about more efficient government. The other thing you want to do, and this is going to surprise, I think, a lot of Canadians, you're pledging to make Canada a republic by abolishing the monarchy.
Yes, it is time that we take charge of our own destiny. Today's Canada is a new Canada. It is not the Canada of 100 years back or 150 years. We have to show truly independent nation. That is what we want to see. That is the thing I want to build. We have to make tough decisions, and we have to start from today. And abolishing monarchy and becoming a sovereign republic is the thing I want to do.
Okay, and do you have support for that, do you think?
The exact reason why I'm in the race is explain it to Canadians and get their support. When I get elected, you can be sure that Canadians support what I'm proposing.
All right, let me ask you a couple of other things. Again, these are part of your program, beyond abolishing the monarchy. You also have a position on the Middle East, which is what?
The position of the Middle East actually is implementing the government of Canada's stated policy for decades. The government of Canada's official policy on Israel and Palestine is we want to see a two-state solution. That's exactly as I'm proposing, starting with the recognition of the sovereign state of Palestine.
All right, and I want to move on from that. So this is about recognizing a Palestinian state.
Yes, that ensures the safety and stability both Israel and the Palestinian people.
Beyond that, let me talk about a couple of things. If I can go back for just a second, when you talk about a more efficient government and you realize the situation we're in now, you said you'd consider making government smaller, and that's fine. But clearly, we'd have to spend or we'd have to cut money somewhere. Where do you plan to cut outside of those particular jobs or those ministries? Where else would you be cutting to try to get a more efficient government?
As I have stated very clearly, every single government program, every single government entity will be evaluated to check whether they are still relevant. If not, they are gone. Either we reuse the resources, what they have been spending for economic development, or they are gone. Government of Canada has gone into too wide a program list, I should say.
Okay. Then you also have something in your program that I'm seeing here is you also believe it's time to tax expat Canadian citizens. Why?
Now, you see, during the last 10, 15 years, we have been seeing this. People, some new immigrants to Canada, they're taking the citizenship as a matter of convenience, not their commitment to the Canada. They come, take the citizenship, go back to some different countries, stay there throughout their life. When things become tough, or their personal life, they got some health issues, or they want to retire, then they come back to Canada, then they think of Canada. There are millions of expatriate, what I call Canadians of convenience, who are out there, who have got the same rights and same benefits as resident Canadians. Whereas resident Canadians pay through the taxes to maintain the social infrastructure, from healthcare to old age security to GIS. Now I want the expatriate Canadians also to pay their fair share to maintain our social infrastructure.
Okay. Last thing I will ask you, you mentioned immigration. You're an immigrant. You came to Canada in 2006. The government has been criticized for taking in too many immigrants, not being prepared for taking in all those immigrants. What is your position?
I have stated very clearly, we have too many temporary residents who are not unqualified, and they're cheap labor for businesses. That is preventing businesses from investing in the tools, techniques, and upgrading their existing workforce to improve productivity. And these temporary residents are also contributing to our housing availability crisis. So I have told we will limit immigration to the needs of Canadian economic growth, and further, the preference will be for trades like electricians and carpenters for the housing sector, and talented engineers for the advanced technology sector.
All right, we will leave it at that, Mr. Arya. I thank you so much for the time, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, sir.